Okay, this is the only thing we need to finish up from the notes, and then you should be able to do the homework during class. Um, so we saw this problem at the end of class yesterday, and we have to explain what the margin of error means, state and interpret the 95% confidence interval, and interpret the confidence level. Um, so I think I'm kind of do it a little bit out of order. I'm going to start with part C. Um, and we're going to interpret the confidence level. And what you can do is you can flip back through your notes, and this is the little fill in the blank statement that we're going to use to interpret the confidence level. So it says, if we were to repeat the sampling procedure many times, okay, then we're going to go back, and it says about blank percent of the confidence intervals would contain, okay, what percent? Well, it says right up here 95%. So about 95% of the confidence intervals would contain the true, and then you have to decide, is this a mean or a proportion problem? And it's talking about answering yes to the question, would you like to lose weight? Um, the answer yes is not a number, so we wouldn't be interested in the mean. We're interested in the amount of people who said yes out of a total, so 59%. So we're talking about a true proportion. Now this 59% is the sample proportion, but we're hoping that our confidence intervals contain the true proportion. And if we're at a 95% confidence level, 95% of those intervals should capture that true proportion. And then we have to put it in the context of the problem. So contain the true proportion of those who would like to lose weight. Whoops. Sorry, my handwriting is sloppier. This stylus isn't the best. Okay, so if we were to repeat this sampling procedure many times, about 95% of the confidence intervals would contain the true proportion of those who would like to lose weight. So like back to like our visual aid, if we did this a whole bunch of times, about 95% of these little strips would capture the true proportion, this line being the true proportion. Okay, then we're going to do part B. And we're going to state and interpret the confidence interval. Okay, so we have to figure out what the interval would be. Well, 59% is our point estimate, and the little, it's not a formula, but you take the point estimate plus or minus the margin of error. Well, they tell us the point estimate was 59%, so 0.59. And they tell us the margin of error is plus or minus 3 percentage points. so plus or minus 0.03. So if we did 0.59 minus 0.03, we would get 0.56. And if we did 0.59 plus 0.03, we would get 0.62. So that's our interval between 0.56 to 0.62. So it says to state it. So the 95% confidence interval is from 0.56 to 0.62. Okay, now we're going to interpret it. So if you go back, oops, yep, here, this is how we interpret the confidence interval. So if you would like to memorize this statement, it's a pretty easy statement, and we're going to be using it a lot, so I think it kind of would be to your benefit to use it and memorize it. So we're going to say we are 95% confident that the interval from 0.56 to 0.62 captures the true, in this case, proportion of the people who want to lose weight. So I'm going to write that down. We are 95% confident that the interval from 0.56 to 0.62 captures the true proportion of those who would like to lose weight. So again, just be very careful on whether it wants you to interpret the interval or whether it wants you to interpret the level. So that's something to kind of get used to. And then the last one is explaining the margin of error. So if you go back through the notes, there's a little bit about the margin of error. It's what we add on and subtract from our point estimate to get the endpoints of our interval. It's also kind of like how accurate we are or how far off we think we are from the true mean or true proportion. So the way that I would explain this margin of error, this 3 percentage points, I would say something like, if we were to repeat this process many times, oops, sorry, this should be A. If we were to repeat this process many times, on average, the sample proportion that we found would be within 3 percentage points of the true proportion. So I'll repeat that. On average, the sample proportion would be within 3 percentage points of the true proportion. So just to clarify, this 0.59, that was just one sample. So if we did a ton of samples, if we repeated it a whole bunch, on average, those individual samples, if we average them all up, on average, we would be within 3 percentage points of the true proportion. Okay, so you have homework number 1. So again, there's going to be some problems like this, interpreting. So interpreting the interval, interpreting the level. You're going to have to count up how many actually hit this line out of the total, and that'll give you your confidence level. You're going to have some problems like this where you have to tell what the point estimator is and then actually figure it out, find the point estimate, find the sample mean, or find the sample proportion. So I think you should be able to get through that homework just fine, and then I'll see you on Thursday. So have a good day today. Bye.